All right, sixth grade. Now it is time to make our soil paint and paint our Serengeti drawing. So what I have here is I have some soil. I did collect a couple of different types of soil and experimented with them first. This one is more of a clay. It's really hard now, but it's kind of a lighter color. I have clay in my yard, and I was able to get like this light taupe color here, and then this is topsoil, so when it's wet it looks almost black, and I was able to get this dark brown with that. So whatever soils you have around, this soil's been sitting so it's a little bit dry. There's some roots in here, okay, you can work around that. If yours is not dry like this and loose, it will still work if it's still wet. But what we want to do is we want to take some of the soil and put it on, you know, like a plastic plate or a Tupperware lid or something like that. So put the soil down, and with this spoon, we would just want to kind of crush it. If it's still wet, it will still crush smaller. We just want the particles to get a little bit broken down. If you find rocks or other things in there, they can stay, or you can get them out. Just kind of, the finer the crush, the better. Again, if you are working with wet soil, it's not going to be powdered like this. But when I experimented and did this, I was using wet soil as well. Okay, so crushing that up, and then some water. Now we want to be careful not to add too much water. We don't want it to be like watercolors. So we'll just mix, and while we're mixing, we're kind of getting those particles to grind some more. So right now this is the consistency of pudding. I want it to be a little bit thinner than that. If you remember working with the liquid tempera paint in the art room in the past, then that is the consistency we want. You may want to, before you actually start painting onto your actual project, you might want to just experiment on some a scratch paper to get the consistency that you want to be able to paint your silhouettes. Just a little bits of water at a time. Now, a long time ago, artists had to make their own paints by crushing up their pigments and adding the medium, whether that was oil or egg, or egg tempera. Tempera paint used to be made with eggs. Okay, that's starting to feel a little bit more like paint. It's not so liquid that it is pouring. And of course, you can always make more if you didn't make enough. Okay. So then you can either use Q-tips, or if you have paintbrushes, it's nice to have a variety of sizes, but whatever you have is going to work. You can always add more water as you're going, depending on it. Now, if you remember in the video, for the scientist who is also a soil painter, she did more than one layer. So if you first put it down and it seems a bit thin, you can wait until it dries and do another layer. You can also add more water to get whatever it is effect that you need. If it starts to dry out, again, just dip your brush in the water, get those branches, experiment and see what works best for you. I'm finding that the Q-tip and dabbing it on is a nice technique for the acacia tree leaves. They're kind of in clumps. So that technique seems to be working.